Greetings from Winter Harbor, Maine. The Brassy broadcast is on the road visiting Acadia National Park in Maine. I'm Jen, the head broad in charge at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and with me is my lovely wife / sidekick / trip planner extraordinaire, Beth Kindig.
Hey, everyone.
Beth, why don't you tell our friends how the trip started out? Because it was about 18 hours. What time did you make us get up and leave on Friday morning?
Well, what's today, Monday? I can't remember. Friday. Seems like so long ago. I believe we got up at 4:30 and we were on the road by 5:30.
That's pretty good for us.
That's pretty good for you. I knew I'd be okay. I didn't know about you.
Well, okay. Yes, that was pretty good for me. So we made it on our day one drive because it's about an 18-hour drive. Day one, we made it all the way to Utica, New York.
We made it. I like the way you say that. Did you drive on that day?
No, I did not drive on day one.
No, Speed Demon drove on that day one. And where did we end up?
Utica, New York.
Now, you were a trusty co-pilot, so I should give you credit for that.
Yes, because I had my readers out. I was prepared this time to read because even though we have Google Maps, we still have an atlas and we kick it old school.
Think about trips you took as a kid. And I can remember my mom sitting in the passenger seat with the atlas in her lap. My Aunt Jerry did it. It's just what you do when you go on trips. You have that atlas right there so you can kind of chart your progress. Well,
because Siri or Google Maps or whatever you're using will fail you at some point, because there were some times when Google Maps was a little bit slow and we were pretty grateful to actually have the atlas.
I might have called whoever does the voice of Google Maps a few choice names. Yes, you are correct.
So we made it all the way to Utica, New York, stayed at a lovely Hampton Inn that we were doing. How did we find our Hampton Inn? Was it TripAdvisor? Well,
I like Hampton Inns. When I was still working, I always stayed at Hampton Inn. So I told you to look for Hampton Inn on TripAdvisor, and you followed directions.
I did, and it was lovely, and it was right across the street from this restaurant. So we get to the Hampton Inn. We asked the lady at the check-in, where should we go to eat dinner? And she was like, Delmonico's right across the street.
Yeah, we had to pass the Denny's to get there, which was tempting, but thank God. We just made it across the street to Delmonico's.
Delmonico's Italian Steakhouse. It was divine. Beth got the 24-ounce steak, and this was probably one of the best baked potatoes I have ever tasted.
Hold on. Now, don't make it sound like I ate a whole 24-ounce ribeye. I believe you assisted me with that steak.
I helped a little.
Oh. Well, and I took half of it back with us then, too.
Yeah, we were too exhausted to eat all that.
Yeah. You had some good chowder.
Oh, I did have great chowder. The wine, you had the Riesling. The Riesling was good.
I think she said Finger Lakes Riesling. It was the smoothest Riesling I'd ever had. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't dry. It was perfection. I wish I could have bought a case of it.
Okay.
I'm kind of really not drinking too much wine, but this didn't give me acid reflux. So I rate that as like a high 5. No acid reflux.
That's a bonus. So
that's
that was
highfalutin right there.
So that was night one of the trip. Night two, we made it into Winter Harbor. The Airbnb that you found is called the Love Shack. So how could we not stay here?
Love Shack, baby. It did make me think of the B-52s, but this place is so quaint. It really is, and it's right on the ocean. We just have to walk across the driveway to get that beautiful view, and it's nice. It's a very nice place.
Oh yeah. Oh, rewind. We need to talk about day 2 of
travel. We didn't talk about. Hello, day 1 travel. Shawshank. Oh my God, Jen, where's your notes?
I forgot to put it in the notes. Mansfield, Ohio.
Yes.
Shout out to my sometimes bandmate Marcy, who said, hey, you've got to stop in Mansfield, Ohio, because that is where they filmed some of Shawshank Redemption. So I should say, my good friend, Marcy Hook. told me to go see my other good friend, Andy Dufresne, at Mansfield. It was cool.
It was very cool. Even just seeing the outside of it was very cool.
Because we got there too early since we left at 5:30 in the morning. We got there too early for the tours. But there is this whole industry around Shawshank in Mansfield.
That's going to be a weekend road trip sometime because I think that is just too cool. And then ironically, was it last night?
Yes.
We flipped the TV on just for a little while. And what movie's on? Shawshank Redemption.
Mm-hmm. So we were like, hey, we were just there. That was really cool. And then day 2, we're driving and we're going down the highway and we see that national park sign for the Springfield Armory in Springfield, Massachusetts. So we had to make a stop there because there were stamps to be gotten for our national park passport book.
Now, if you're a frequent listener, you'll remember some of our previous trips to some of the national parks. But if you're a new listener, make sure that you go to a national park and you get what's called a passport book. Because then as you go to each national park, you can get a stamp in your book and it tells you certain elements of each of these locations and certain things to look for. It's just the coolest nerdy thing in the whole world. So be a big supporter of the national parks.
Yes, we love to stop and get our stamps. So anytime there's time and we see one of those signs, the great thing is because we can get stamps there, we end up stopping at places that we never would have normally stopped because we'll stop just to get the stamps. And then we end up learning something really cool.
And spending money on things at the gift shops, So that too supports our national parks.
It's all about supporting the national parks.
Absolutely.
And that is what we have done the last couple of days. Oh, but let's jump back. We are all over the place. That's just the kind of trip it's been.
It's because we've saved up a few days. I told you we should have done this the other day. I tried to tell you we should have done this in a chronological format each day.
You're right.
It's on tape. It is now down in the history books. Finally.
Okay, but let's talk about the Love Shack. You found it on Airbnb. It is in the woods and on the water. And so far, the other thing that we forgot to talk about.
As we cross into the state line of Maine, we weren't 5 minutes into the drive on the interstate and 2 eagles flew overhead. It was majestic.
It was majestic. It was incredible.
Yeah.
The other really cool thing about Maine is that along the highways, so we're from Indiana, and you'll see a lot of deer crossing signs in Indiana, but in Maine, it's moose crossing signs. So to girls from Indiana, that's pretty cool.
Well, that perked you up. You stayed awake for a while then because it would say, watch for moose next 10 miles. So I knew I had to, navigating and awake and talking to me for 10 miles at least. And then they'd have another one. It just kind of kept you going, so you stayed.
It really did. It was a good motivator for me, even though we never did see a single moose.
We haven't yet. We're still in Maine.
That's right.
I have hope.
I do too.
Okay.
Shall we talk about Acadia National Park? So we are staying in Winter Harbor, which is across the bay from Bar Harbor. But part of Acadia National Park is also over here at Winter Harbor.
On the east side.
So we paid a visit to the Schoodic Peninsula and explored the park over there. And it was incredible.
Those trails that we went up to where they said the Appalachian Trail crossed, and I never saw signs for that. But that trail was really cool, albeit a little rough at times for someone who's had knee surgery and grandma's needing a new hip apparently too. So it was still a lot of fun. Thank God for walking sticks. I'll just say that. But I liked it because there weren't a lot of people there and the views were breathtaking.
And the beaches here are really interesting. I mean, these are not like Panama City white sand beaches that I was used to visiting growing up as a kid. These beaches are rocky and it's just beautiful here.
The rocks are huge. Like when we went to Schoodic. God, why can't I say it right?
You said it right.
Oh, I did say it right. Okay.
Yeah,
When we went to Schoodic Point and we were able to walk out so close to crashing waves against these rocks, but these rocks are, the size of cars, and so many of them were so flat. Did you see the older lady, even older than me, that was sitting out there in a lawn chair?
Yeah.
I mean, just like you would sit on a beach, but she's sitting on a rock, a flat rock, in a lawn chair, and it was just so cool.
Yeah.
I think the word we both used was bucolic. Didn't we? Was that our bucolic moment?
I don't remember.
It was bucolic in my book.
Let's talk about our trip today through Acadia National Park. Beth is so smart, and I will admit...
Not only am I right, but I'm smart too. I'm on a roll. Keep going.
And it's all on tape. Well, Beth sometimes gets the shaft, always being the one that's driving. It's not that I won't drive. It's just that she's particular about her driving.
Safety first.
And I was driving a little short stint as we were headed into Springfield, and we were going to go to the armory there. Apparently, I was starting to make her sick with the way that I was taking some of the turns.
I didn't say you're making me sick. I said I was getting a little dizzy. There's a big difference there. So at the appropriate time, we switched drivers, and it was all good.
It was.
It was good.
And we avoided a fight. And
I haven't fought yet.
No, we got a little close today, but we didn't.
No, I wasn't close to a fight. I just thought you were being snippy.
Okay.
And you thought I was being snippy. And we won't say why I thought you were being snippy.
So Beth gets the shaft when it comes to driving because she has to drive all the time. The worst time that she really had to do all the driving was on the road to Hana in Hawaii. So now she's smarter. She's learned a thing or two. And she booked a 4-hour tour of Acadia, and we got to ride Ollie's trolleys to do it. And it was great. So we stopped at 4 different places in Acadia, and we had 30 minutes to get out and walk around and explore each place. And then we know that we can go back later this week. So the first stop was Sur de Mont. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I really liked Ollie's trolleys, except the whole time I'm on the thing, all I could think of was, Ollie, get your trolleys here. Like, Lolly. But Bob, our trolley driver, number one, very competent driver. I mean, there was some harrowing. Okay, those two. Locations there of being close to you. It was reminiscent of the road to Hana. I believe you brought that up. So, and Bob narrated the entire time, and it was so interesting, and just the history of Acadia, and I just thought he did a very good job. But the tour to Sur de Mont. So I took 3 years of French.
Yeah, me too.
Sur de Mont.
There was the Sweetwater Springs.
Yes. I wasn't all that enthralled with Sur de Mont. You seem to enjoy it. I, however...
But Ranger Nate was awesome.
We need to give a shout out to Ranger Nate. He was very, very good. Entertaining.
Yes.
That was the best part of Sur de Mont.
Yeah.
I really think that I liked Thunderhole better. I can't even say it without you laughing. You're such a 12-year-old. And it wasn't thundering a lot in the hole.
No, it wasn't.
The waves were not super high at that point in time. Very high tide will send off the thunder in the hole. But I just thought that was really cool.
It was
beautiful.
It was. Yeah. And then the third stop was Jordan Pond, which was absolutely stunning.
Yes, that was not as stunning as our final stop.
No.
But Jordan Pond was very cool. And to hear about the cleanliness of the lake there and just what they do to preserve that was very interesting. But by far, I think my favorite, Cadillac Mountain.
Oh, yeah. But I will say that if you like to do any souvenir shopping while you are in the park, the stop at Jordan Pond, definitely the best merch and park swag and all that good stuff.
So here's a typical Jen move. Okay, so we're on vacation and we'll stop at a store and I'll say, oh, look at this. This looks like you. Yeah, well, I'm going to wait because I might find something I like better. And then invariably, later that day, 2-3 days later, you will say, what store was that? I can't remember. Darn it. And we never find it. So when we were at Jordan Pond, we found that shirt and I said, let's get it and let's get it now. It was on a mannequin. I had to pull it off the mannequin.
Because it was the last large.
It was the last large. So I had to, disrobe the mannequin right there in the store. I didn't mind. I don't think anybody watching either did. But anyway, so we got the shirt. That's important now. I think you've learned that when we see something and you like it, we need to get it right then and there because we didn't go back.
No, we didn't.
No.
Oh my gosh, you are right again.
Wow. I'm going to go
And this is a short podcast, and you've been right twice.
Let's do a long podcast so I'm right all the time.
And the final stop was Cadillac Mountain. Oh my gosh. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, it is the highest elevation on the eastern seaboard. And learning what that means is any elevation that is within 25 miles, the shore, 25 miles of the ocean, that qualifies Cadillac Mountain as the highest in the eastern seaboard. I thought that was cool.
I did too. And it was just, you could go up there and just see all around the island. It was incredible.
The views were panoramic. You know, and I look back at the pictures that I took, and granted, I'm just looking at my phone. You have the camera because you're the photographer, but the pictures just don't even capture it. They just don't do it justice. It's something that you literally have to take in. Forget about electronics. Forget about trying to capture the moment because you can't. You just have to be in that moment. It was beautiful.
Truly. Yes, I agree. 1,000% on that.
So I'm right 3 times now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just keeping track.
Oh, no, I understand. Right. Let's talk about lunch, because lunch was at the Thirsty Whale in Bar Harbor. That was delicious.
Bahaba.
You're getting it. You're working on it.
I'm going to talk like the locals here soon. The Thirsty Whale, fun little place.
Mm-hmm.
Great
lobster roll.
And I had the chowder. You had the bisque.
Yes.
They were both delicious.
Yeah. So thumbs up if you need a place to eat in Bar Harbor. The Thirsty Whale.
Yep.
Now let's talk about dinner, because we came up with a plan that we would probably try to eat a bigger lunch since we would be out and about. And then there's a lovely IGA here in Winter Harbor. So we just stopped last night and got some peanut butter and jelly and some potato chips, because that is still one of my most favorite meals when we're on vacation. I think because it was one of my favorite vacation meals as a kid, because we would just run up from the beach, make peanut butter and jelly. You could take it back down. You could eat it real quick. It was great. So still my number one go-to meal on vacation. But you changed it up tonight. You decided to stop at...
It's called the Lobstore. Lobstore, the Lobstore. And it was actually in the book that I bought about the coastal Maine. And what a great place it is. And I have to give it 2 thumbs up for the variety of seafood that they had, the freshness of the seafood. So I picked up some lobster, some shrimp, and some lobster bisque dip for dinner. And we had a picnic right here in front of this very hot fireplace, because I am starting to get hot sitting in front of this fireplace. But we had a little picnic right here.
And it was lovely. And since it's getting hot in here now, it's probably time to wrap this podcast up.
It's probably time before that to wrap this podcast up.
And what's on the agenda for tomorrow for dates?
Well, tomorrow.
Did you say whale?
Whale. I did say whale. Well, I'm glad you asked. Gosh, now I'm from the South. We are going on a whale watching tour. We're supposed to. Weather is predicted to be 70% chance of rain, but we checked in with them today. They said as long as the seas aren't too rough, we will go out, which I appreciate that. If they're too rough, I don't want to go. And maybe back to Acadia?
I think so.
So, and then it'll be our last night here.
Yes, it will be.
And we're not going to tell you where we're going to go next. You'll just have to listen.
Stay tuned, friends. We'll be back later this week with another installment of the Brassy Roadcast. Thanks for listening. Now get out in the world and explore a little bit.